Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Pixarspective Episode 3, where we discuss all of the Pixar films. I'm going to screw that up.
No.
All of the Pixar films in chronological order, essentially.
Yes.
I am the Wash _ on Twitch.
I am RandomBystanderHere on Twitch, YouTube, and everything.
I don't know who I am on everything.
It's Kirby.
I'm Kirbyfan.
It's Kirbyfan.
It's Kirbyfan. Wait, did you just correct her own name? Is he mansplaining you right now? Okay.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry.
Pixarspective over. I'm done. Okay.
Yeah,
No, I'm
that's
kidding.
true. All right, that's all we had to say about Toy Story 2. I don't know how you guys are going to rank it, but personally, my favorite of the movie so far is still A Bug's Life. That one was just...
I was about to say totally, but I couldn't say that with a straight face. And I used to defend the movie. Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
Yes, Toy Story 2. That's the movie we all watched recently. What are our memories with Toy Story 2 going into our viewing?
My memory of it is that it was also one of the earliest DVD memories, and I remember loving it as a kid. Just loved everything about it and all the characters, and I would rewatch it over and over again. While I was watching, I don't know where it came from, but suddenly I remembered, hey, there was a PC game that I played all the time, and I looked it up, and
I know that game.
It's called Toy Story 2 Activity Center.
Yes.
And it had all these different, it had a game where you were Buzz hopping on luggage, or it had a weird checkers game.
Yeah, that's the checkers game. I played that all the time.
Yeah, and
the music sounds like Humoresque of a Little Dog. The remix in Brawl. That's what the music sounds like.
Oh wow.
I remember the day Brawl came out. This is nothing about Toy Story 2, but I remember the day Brawl came out, and I heard Humoresque of a Little Dog for the first time. I was just
the checkers theme.
It's Toy Story 2.
Activity Center.
Activity Center.
That's secretly the sequel to Earthbound.
Okay.
So yeah, quite a lot of memories rushing in as I was watching the film. Obviously, it's like I was already knowing it front to back. It's also been a while since I watched it, and as I talked briefly about at the end of the last episode, as I was growing up, and especially as I was getting into high school and stuff, my memory of it is just kind of tainted, and I just thinking Toy Story 2, isn't that the one with all those jokes? As I was getting older and older, it's just my memory of it is just that it was just way too silly. I didn't see the hype behind critics calling it better than Toy Story. I just didn't get it. And now that I've grown up, and I can say I still don't get the hype. It's better than I remember it. I'll say right at the start there.
You spoiled it.
I spoiled it, but I still don't understand where it's coming from, and we're definitely gonna have to discuss that as we're going along. Rando, what was your experience?
Yes. I remember this being the first Pixar movie I saw in theaters.
Ooh.
One of my earliest memories as a child is seeing the prospector turn the vent with his pickaxe in theaters. I don't know why that image, but that's what I remember.
It's why you can predict all the twist villains.
Yeah. That and they're predictable. But,
so I'm trying to give you a little bit of credit on this one.
Yeah, thank you. But, I would say Toy Story 2 was definitely one of the first Pixar films I owned on VHS. I don't remember how exactly I felt about it in the beginning. I just thought it was either equal to or possibly even better than Toy Story 2. I mean, Toy Story 1?
Toy Story 2 is better than Toy Story 2.
And now that I watched it again, I had a lot more fun with it than I remember. I had a lot more fun watching this one. All I could say without a doubt is that it's better than A Bug's Life. It's
well, now you spoil the ranking, so way to go.
Yeah.
Well, Toy Story 2 could still be number 1. We're not sure.
Yeah, I am not going to spoil that exactly, but I will say I really, really enjoyed watching Toy Story 2 again, and it kept my interest a lot. At first I was taking notes, but then I forgot to take notes because I would just get into the movie, and then there would be something that was like either very noteworthy or like, and maybe write it down. But other than that, I really, really enjoyed it again.
Yeah, I had a similar experience that the note taking is a lot more sparse, and I ended up essentially like padded my notes by doing some research afterwards, which I will discuss as we go along.
Great.
But yeah, I was very similar experience that I was a lot more engaged with this than with A Bug's Life.
Yeah, me too. Kirby fan.
Oh shoot! All right, mine's easy, and it's not like A Bug's Life where I said it was gonna be fast. This is gonna be super quick. Toy Story 2. I saw it once when I was a kid. I loved it. Next time I saw it with you two. That's my memories of it.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's it. That's
right.
it.
We did watch it when we were in our early 20s.
It was probably even before that. I feel like it's been a while
I want to
since
say it
I
was
last saw
before
it.
that.
I feel like it was a while since I last saw it, but I can count the amount of times I've seen this movie on one hand, for sure.
Oh wow.
I've seen the Sch'moes YouTube poop more than I've seen the actual movie.
I feel like I should like put the YouTube poop in the edit of this podcast, but it really should be seen to be believed.
Yeah, I'm actually.
I
know I
haven't
said
seen it.
I know I said I was gonna do nothing but quote it, but I'm actually gonna try my best not to, just because I don't want to give away any of the jokes because they're just that funny, that well edited.
Why, you don't know who you are, do you? I'm a fish.
But yes, Toy Story 2.
Yeah, so that's that. We normally start with the plot. Which one of you wants to cover the plot this time?
We take our place back in Andy's room where we find. Well, actually, the opening is a video game. But despite that, we see Woody and Buzz back in Andy's room, and Andy is about to go to cowboy camp, but Andy accidentally rips Woody, and then Woody is shelved. Gasp. And then he winds up having to save another toy for a yard sale. He winds up getting toy-napped by Al of Al's Toy Barn, who is they really make him to be an asshole in this movie now that I think about it. But that's beside the point. So basically, Woody gets kidnapped, and turns out to be a huge collector's item of Woody's Roundup, and he's worth millions, and he could go to Japan and be loved by children forever. Also he meets Jesse, the prospector, Bullseye, and meanwhile, back at the ranch, Andy's room.
The ranch.
Do you know that saying? Meanwhile, back at the ranch. That's a saying. In movie films.
Yeah. That's a good reference. Good work.
Yes. Meanwhile, back at the Andy's room ranch, we have Buzz heading over to Al's Toy Barn and Al's apartment to rescue Woody.
Draw that man in a man suit.
Etch. Draw that man in a man suit. It's the man!
Okay.
That's
the
the reference.
YouTube
That's
poop.
the reference. I tried.
That's YouTube poop quote number 1.
I thought you were just messing up the quote really badly, and I was like, what the fuck? Anyway, but yeah, basically the story revolves Woody's side of the story, where they're like in the apartment learning about Woody's Roundup and Woody's like trying to get back to Auntie, and the other side is Buzz and the rescue team, Mr. Potato Head, Slinky, Rex, Ham. Am I forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting someone.
Barbie and Stupid Buzz.
Well,
oh yeah, the stupid Buzz. That's right.
Utility belt Buzz.
Utility belt
Buzz. Okay,
yeah,
that's
a good name.
I mean that's what I call him. But yeah, utility belt Buzz joins eventually, and then they meet up, and there's some whole conflicts about what happens when Andy grows up, and is it worth it? And yeah, that's the story. See the movie. It came out like what, 1999, 2000.
1999.
Wow, yeah, 99. It turns 20 this year.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Oh, I'm old. Anyway,
I'm gonna interject real quick. So You briefly skimmed over this at the start, and I don't blame you, but at the start you said, actually, it starts with a video game.
Yes.
And my first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes have to do with the video game.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I had a couple notes.
I know you two know this. You two know this because, we're friends and everything, but I am very much a video game analyst. I don't even want to say critic. I just nitpick games and see how much fun I have doing it. And I have quite a few notes. Did we want to start talking about the game, or did we want to start talking about something else?
I mean, the game is it's the whole opening setup of the movie.
Yeah.
So
Yes, it is very important.
even though it has nothing to, it does. I wouldn't say it has nothing to do with it, but it's
It's a part of Rex's story more than it is about like the rest. It's kind of like to get people pumped up, but it's more about like
it comes back later.
It comes back later.
Yes.
We'll talk about that in terms of plot. My two notes on that opening, one of them is that, for a bit of trivia, the opening for this was actually the original opening for Toy Story 1. It wasn't going to be a video game, it was going to be a Buzz Lightyear television show. And it was going to have the same level of camp. And I believe it also had the evil Emperor Zurg in the original. And it didn't really work very much as an opening, so they kind of scrapped that idea and changed it into like it wasn't a very good opening considering that this was supposed to be Woody's story.
Yeah.
So it made a lot more sense for them to just like scrap that and just make it about Woody's playtime, and you get to establish everything in terms of that. So this opening is one of many scrap pieces from Toy Story that they reincorporated into the story. And my other note about this is, and I'm reading this out, what kind of crappy adventure game has the up button for jump?
It's depending on how your settings. Smash Ultimate World of Light.
It is a Super Nintendo game. Keep that in mind. So this was.
Yeah, that was one of my notes.
It was almost universal at this point, but not quite yet. There were still a lot of cash-in games.
Yeah.
That were trying to make people were trying to make a profit off of that didn't quite have the jump button set to.
That was one of my notes, actually. I was like, Rex has an SNES controller.
I think it's canonically a Super Nintendo, yeah.
It's definitely a Super... You see a Super Nintendo in Andy's room. It's definitely the SNES.
Yeah.
He was not a Genesis kid. Good for him.
Good. And
I love the Genesis. I just love the Super Nintendo more.
Yeah, everyone loves the Super Nintendo more.
I think the Genesis would be even worse for Rex's arms because he would not be able to reach that third button. There's a video game joke for you.
Yep.
But I'm Tish.
But yeah, that was my biggest note. Also, like, all the Star Wars references in the game.
Oh my god, dude.
So many in the movie in general.
Yeah, throughout the movie.
Zurg is just one giant Star Wars reference.
I haven't seen Star Wars, and I picked up a few of the Star Wars references.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here.
Well, that's all we have to say about the video game.
Here's my biggest question.
Okay, go ahead.
Is the game first person or third person?
I think it's third person with a first person option.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's way too complicated for the kind of game that it is. It's way too complicated for the Super Nintendo.
The game tried and it was ahead of its time, but it failed miserably.
You know, they make it so you can't defeat Zurg unless you buy this book. It's extortion, that's what it is. Hey, I always thought the Golden Scepter was the only...
A developer that cares that little about their game would not have the groundbreaking technology to have a game be both first person and third person. So which is it? Is it first person? Is it third person? When he lands on the planet and he speaks into his thing and he says there's no sign of intelligent life anywhere, is that a cutscene? Or is there like a taunt button on the controller that has him open up his thing and say there's no sign of intelligent life? Kind of like how there's taunts in Smash Brothers. Because if it's a cutscene, then this is practically a QuickTime event. But if it's not a cutscene, then he has a taunt button. And that's a waste of space considering the Super Nintendo only has 6 buttons.
Yeah, I was about to say maybe it's like Dragon's Lair, where you basically just have to hit the right button at the right time.
I think what we see in the opening is not the literal gameplay. It's kind of like the metaphorical what the gamer pictures, because it even has like during the scene where Buzz is sneaking down the ventilation. Imagine like playing the game and then it suddenly cuts to the villain turning on the spikes that you now know exist.
It's a cutscene.
But it's a cutscene like right in the middle of moving.
Yeah, he's starting to move, and when he gets to the point, when he gets to that space in the game, it triggers a cutscene, and then I guess a QuickTime event.
I'd be curious to see what because there was there a Super Nintendo Toy Story 2 or PlayStation?
No, there is Super Nintendo.
Okay, so I'd be curious to see like how the Super Nintendo game like handled this scene and tries. No, I'm wrong. I'm thinking about Toy Story 1. Toy Story 2 was PlayStation. Oh, okay. So they probably would be a lot more capable of.
I mean, maybe it was a Sony. Oh wait, no.
You're right. It was definitely Super Nintendo.
No, it was definitely Super Nintendo. It's just that like I almost said developers. It's just that the filmmakers don't really know video games that well, and they just
they like Rex is clearly not very good at video games because Buzz in this game has flight. He has like, from what we can gather, infinite flight. I don't know if it's infinite. I don't know if it's, going down the Kirby route where it's actually infinite flight or if it's limited flight. But he has flight, and he never once takes advantage of it outside of when he was about to die.
I think that is a flaw of the game itself. It's very much like, why can't you use Phoenix Down? It's that same sort of premise, where it's suddenly like the ludo-narrative dissonance, the flying cutscene that you don't actually get to achieve in the real game.
How long have we been talking about this game now?
About 20 minutes.
Okay. So the speedrunner in me really wants to know, when Buzz is hopping along those platforms, when he goes, duh, like an idiot and falls, is that a timing minigame? Or is that like the hands in World 8 of Mario 3 where it's up to chance? That's what I want. Because if it's up to chance where he actually falls down, then this is not a speedrunning game. I would hate to speedrun this.
I think they're always gonna like go down. So if you're gonna speedrun it, you might as well just go da 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 da, and then you just fall.
That's very poorly designed. If you're always gonna fall, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter in a game where you have infinite flight.
It's for the drama. It's for the initial drama at least until you play
and
the game again.
Artist and the 2001 reference.
Well, there are lots and lots of film references in this movie. More so than the first one.
Almost as much as Shrek 2.
That's a very good comparison.
It is. I have a lot more notes down, but I'll stop.
All right, thank you. I mean, all
I'm saying is that I would not play this game. I might give it a shot for like a let's play, but I would not speedrun it. I would not speedrun this game any day of the week.
Well, that's been our review of Toy Story 2 for the Super Nintendo.
The first 5 minutes.
The first 5 minutes for the Super Nintendo.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. It felt very authentic, which is why I nitpicked it the way I did. But it's just not a well-designed game, that's all.
It was a good opening, though.
It's a great opening cutscene. It's a terrible video game.
Like, aside from the connection with, like, Rex's story, like, the sort of payoff it has later on, it's not advancing the story. It's not like...
It doesn't have to advance... It takes, like, 2 minutes. It doesn't have to advance the story. It's 2 minutes. It's the first 2 minutes is what I mean.
Okay.
It's setting things up.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That is setting up for some, like...
I cringe to think at how Metacritic would treat it, though. That's all I gotta say. I do not want to know.
IGN would probably be like, not enough space.
I feel like we should do a podcast where we talk about video games that only exist in film.
We could tear a bunch of video games apart.
Oh yeah.
Tangent alert.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about the movie proper. I think that might make sense. I mean, we have a lot of time, but I still think let's just talk about the movie. Oh, well, here's a place to start. What do we think of the plot? I forgot that's what we were talking about before I went on my video game tangent.
I like it. It was like nice seeing Woody out of his element, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I mean he was out of his element with Buzz in Sid's room, but like I don't know, it was nice seeing them like separated, like working to get.
Yeah, Woody's by himself. Woody's completely isolated.
I would almost call it like philosophically isolated. Like like he suddenly...
in Toy Story 1, Woody and Buzz. Woody had to get home, and Woody had to get Buzz home. In Toy Story 2, Woody needs to escape home.
I think it would be easier to get through the plot once we talk with the characters, because there's definitely a lot to say about especially the newer characters.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Characters.
Obviously, we have Woody and Buzz. What do you think about the film's approach to these two?
Who wants
Delicious hot Sch'moes. They're called
s'mores, Buzz. Sch'moes.
S'mores, schmoes, s'mores. Right, of course. Has anyone found what is schmoes? Yeah.
Number two. That was
Number
number two.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Woody and Buzz, like, they were together throughout most of the film in Toy Story 1, and throughout most of Toy Story 2, they're kind of separated, but trying to work to get back together.
Mm.
And in the end, they help each other out, but it's like, it's still Woody's story, again, but it's like, it's...
Toy Story 1 was definitely the story of Woody and Buzz. This is definitely the story of Woody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, very much so. The Buzz B plot is it would be unfair to call it filler because it's definitely not filler. But
Definitely not.
Uh-huh.
It helps to like balance the mood of it because the actual what I was really surprised about was that the actual like Woody arc it's very sad.
Yeah, it's not... I don't want to say it isn't funny, but it's definitely... I wasn't laughing at it a lot, you know?
And I'm okay with that. I actually quite enjoyed that.
I liked it. Ish. I'll get into that later.
We'll get into that later, yeah.
I know, at least the last time we've talked about this, Wash disagreed with me. I don't know about Rando, but this applied to Toy Story 3 at the time, not so much Toy Story 2, but it definitely applies to Toy Story 2 as well. I prefer Buzz as not an idiot. I like the idea of Buzz being somebody who's still, you know, kind of unfamiliar with how basic stuff works, but he at least knows that, hey, this is basic stuff. I should know this. I'm not that guy. Which you actually see in Toy Story 2 multiple times. He's just, I'm not that guy. I think out of all three of them, I like the approach of having a Buzz who knows that the world isn't about, you know, defeating Zurg and everything, and a Buzz who believes the world is about defeating Zurg and everything. You actually get to see the contrast. I think that made it a lot funnier. Whereas in Toy Story 1, it wasn't as funny, but it was a much more of a journey kind of change, which I was okay with.
Yeah, I think that the fact that like Buzz is like knows like the truth and he just sees himself and in this literally it probably does make it funnier. Tell me I wasn't this deluded. No back talk.
When they're trying to tell the difference between which Buzz is the real one, Buzz just knows to hit the button that pops off his helmet. He just knows what to do because he's been there before.
Yeah.
I like that there's like a little bit of silence where all the other toys like kind of stare at him a bit and he just lifts up this foot like that had the Andy on the bottom and it's like duh.
Buzz!
Like he really should have done that at the beginning.
yeah, but Buzz had to get his vengeance.
Yeah.
When he hit that button, he probably felt good about doing it.
Oh yeah. Especially since he like trapped him in a box.
That was messed up. That was like I was claustrophobic.
I didn't remember the utility belt Buzz being so like power hungry. Like
if you know what, it kind of felt like old Buzz in Toy Story 1 to the extreme almost. Even more Buzzy than old Buzz in Toy Story 1.
Oh yeah. There's very.
It's the utility belt. It got to his head.
Yeah, it's not until the utility belt Buzz joins up with the rest of the toys that he actually has. Like before then, he's a very joyless Buzz.
Yeah, but they make some laughs with it.
Hang tight, everyone. I'm going to let go of the wall. What? He wouldn't. 1.
He would.
2. No, 3.
And then
Yeah,
I'd say.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to note that like as soon as he pushed the button on the utility belt, that was when the elevator was going up.
Yes.
It's kind of like a build up to the gag that you know what's gonna happen.
Pretty much.
So I think a better way, well, maybe not a better way, but probably a better way for a podcast of asking the question, what do we think of Woody and Buzz, is what did we think of Woody's part of the story, where it was Woody and the cowboy gang being shipped off to Japan, and Woody's whole dilemma of being with kids forever and being with Andy for a short time. That whole thing, or the Buzz side, where it was the escapades of Buzz and the crew trying to find Woody.
Right.
I think I'd say more they played with the drama and like core message of the movie with Woody's story and focused more on the comedy with Buzz.
Yes, absolutely, I agree.
Which it works for me personally.
Yeah.
Because like you get like a healthy dose of both. And even then you get some comedy with Woody as well. Not as much. But
yeah, but it's still there. It's still there.
I think like the Woody side, like the humor is situational, whereas the Buzz stuff is often like physical slapstick, like them rushing through a busy highway in cones.
oh god, all the
and
action.
creating all this horrifying destruction.
All the
Did
destruction.
you see like the first one? Like when it first happened, there was like a guy and his airbag went off.
Yes.
I also noticed that like when the Mr. Potato Head goes, well, that went well, and it goes to the wide shot, you can see those two drivers like arguing with each other. And one of them like pushing the other one.
Yes.
And then the lamp falls down and one of them looks at it.
I love details like that. Well, one of the things that I noticed when watching the movie was the first 20 minutes or so of the movie before Woody actually gets kidnapped. It had a style of humor. I almost want to say the way the characters talked. Oh, they almost had kind of like this brutal sass to a lot of their dialogue, and I thought it was really funny. And then when the scenes were about Buzz, the humor stuck to what it was in the beginning part of the movie. It was very morbid. The humor was very, very morbid, I thought, and it was hilarious. But the Woody humor, the humor with Woody, changed. And because the first 20 minutes was the first 20 minutes, and then the stuff with Buzz kind of followed that, but the stuff with Woody didn't, I kind of thought the humor in Woody's part kind of fell flat, for the most part.
It essentially just became like two different movies.
Yeah, that's what I think I mean, ultimately, I think my issue with Woody's part, and I'll get into it when we talk about the characters, but I didn't really, until kind of late, I didn't really care about any of Woody's cowboy. I didn't care, start to finish, I didn't care about Bullseye or the Prospector. I came to care about Jesse, but not for a while. I mean, I care about Woody, but whatever. Whereas, on the flip side, of course I care about Buzz and Gang. They're hilarious. They're the funniest parts of the movie, I thought. It's not when Woody's parts were on, I thought it was a drag. I was still invested, and I was still generally having a good time, but when there were a few parts of the movie when the Woody sections kind of went on for a little too long, and I was just like, alright, get back to Buzz. Just get back to Buzz, they're really funny.
They were still kind of trying to figure out that sort of balance between the two. I wonder if it's part of this sort of imbalance is because of like the production itself, because they went through hell for this. Like they did.
Yeah.
So as the trivia man here, I will get into a little bit about the backstory of this. This Toy Story 2 was originally going to be a direct-to-DVD film. So it was just started out with a smaller crew that was just trying to like develop the film. And you can actually see in the DVD special features one of the deleted scenes that came from this. The stakes were completely different. Like how Woody got to the yard sale is horribly convoluted. All I can remember is that for some reason Woody was flying out of the window, landed on a roof tile, and slid down into a box where he ended up with like a shoe over his head, and Mr. Potato Head yelled out, "I always knew you were a shoe-in for the yard sale," or something like that. It was a completely different movie.
Wow.
The actual like production quality of it, Disney was quite impressed, and they actually decided to switch this over into a feature film. And then once the Buzz Life was wrapping up, they switched over to Toy Story 2, and the creative staff didn't like the quality of the film, but they could not change the deadline at all. It had to come out for Christmas 1999, November 25th, 1999. At least I believe it's so, because that's a date that actually shows up in the film. So they had, and this is a point that gets pointed out multiple times when I'm researching this, 9 months to fix this.
Yep.
There was stuff that was already fully animated, like that scene we were talking about with them crossing through the streets. That originally happened in a completely different location. They realized that the way the scene was originally set up, it just became a distraction. It wasn't like moving the story along. So they shifted it so that it's happening right in front of Al's Toy Barn. They had to do a whole lot of tricks. They had to recycle a whole lot. There's the classic scene with Toy Repairman, who is very clearly Gary from the Pixar short Gary's Game. They mostly reuse a lot of models and just spruce it up a little bit or change up the lighting. But it ended up being so stressful for the Pixar team that, according to one book, about a third of the animators had like a repetitive strain injury from this. Ooh. And after this, they had to enforce breaks to make sure that this stuff doesn't happen again, because it was damaging their own crew, and they were probably gonna lose out on making more films if their animators are hurting too much from animating.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can feel some of the roughness. It's still fairly smooth as far as like troubled productions go, but I can feel like how like it felt a little more cobbled than it could have been if they had like truly focused on it.
I have something written as least as far as the humor went. One was from the beginning of the movie, which I still compare to the, Buzz and other scenes. And then one from after Woody gets kidnapped and Woody is, with the others. The Woody quote, the joke is that he's looking at merchandise of himself and he finds a yo-yo. And he goes, oh, look at me, I'm on a yo-yo. And that's the joke. That's actually all the joke is. But in the beginning of the movie, when Woody is at the yard sale and the other toys don't know he's trying to save the penguin, Potato Head says, he's selling himself for 25 cents. And Slinky says, come on, Woody, you're worth more than that. And then Al says, I'll offer you $50 for him. And Potato Head says, $50 ain't bad.
Yeah.
Also, I almost called him Mr. Nintendo Head. Mr. Potato Head is a lot nicer in this film than he was in the beginning. It's because of Mrs. Potato Head, I'm sure. But, Mr. Potato Head is a lot nicer in this film. And not like
I think Toy Story 1 is just kind of his arc. And at the by the end of it, he's just kind of, I want to say he redeemed himself, but more what happened is that he got his fair punishment, and then they just went on with their
moved
lives.
on.
And did he give up when you threw him out of the back of that moving van?
Oh, you had to bring that up.
No, he didn't.
I was really excited when, I started the movie. I think it was about the 20-minute mark, which is when Woody gets taken. It was around there. And I have it written down here. I said 20 minutes, the tone of the movie set. We understand what the message of the movie is probably going to be. Mm-hmm. We have an idea of its humor. It's consistent. It's great. And then around that point, I think, is where it kind of starts becoming a little cobbled, a little bit inconsistent.
Yes. I would definitely agree, yeah. When Woody gets shelved, it did feel a little poignant to me.
Yeah.
I was going through some of the reviews, and I noticed one of them said it just kind of, like, the movie kind of reminds you, like, what it felt like to play with toys, and especially to grow up with toys. Where you just kind of leave them behind, and the shelf scene becomes very important much later on as we get into Jesse's story.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I kind of said a little something on this before, but to elaborate a little bit, I until Jessie had her reveal moment, which I thought redeemed her completely for the most part, I thought she was kind of insufferable. I'll be honest. I thought that, when she was, happy and energetic, she was just a little too annoying, even though Woody, clearly was uncomfortable with it. She was way too energetic. And then after Woody said, no, I have a kid that I need to go back to, she just got, like, really angry the entire time. This could be also the prospector's fault for, not telling Woody this, even though he very clearly knows. It's clear that he knows. She was just very insufferable to me. She wasn't funny. Kind of annoying when she was just being angry all the time.
I will say that during that scene where Jessie first turns on Woody, there is a bit of dialogue from the prospector that hints at Jessie's sort of like sad path, and he says to her, "I promise you will get out of the box." Mm-hmm. And the way that it's said, it feels very much like the prospector had to keep repeating this to her because she just had so much trauma with darkness.
Even before that, I think there's a moment where, like, I think he first revealed that she has an owner, and she, like...
No, can't go. I can't do storage again. I just can't.
Jesse,
I won't go back in the dark.
And that's when Woody's like, whoa, what's going on?
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
And that's before she kind of turns into, like, and
That's
starts,
true.
like, being a bitchy a little bit. So, yeah, she does start to get a little, like, mean, but I think it's more of a coping mechanism.
So you know what the problem is? It was too drawn out. There was way too much time of Jessie just being angry at Woody and her action, the part where she explains to Woody about what happened. It's a long part of the movie. There's a good, I want to say, 20-30 minutes of Jessie just being really angry.
That's fair. Yeah, there was quite a while.
It's set up well. It's just it took too long.
That's a fair point. Yeah, I will give you that.
Payoff's nice though.
I still really like Jessie, especially like I was surprised in just how much the backstory just kind of like just tug at my heartstrings.
It was it was good. It was good. The scene where she gets abandoned, it was good.
Thank God Randy Newman didn't sing this song.
Okay, all right. Hot take here. I think the song is dumb. I think the singer is way better than Randy Newman, but the lyrics are the exact same thing as Randy Newman would come up with.
So
the song's stupid. The song is stupid.
But it works with the visuals.
Okay, so it's funny you talk about the music because in the bonus DVD you get to hear Randy Newman's demo for
Through
this.
the summer and the fall.
That line right there is when he just wails it. And I have a feeling that they just had they just kind of knew ahead of time that this was gonna be performed with like a female singer like Sarah McLachlan, fresh off the mega hit Angel. But I like to imagine he sent Pixar or Disney the demo, and the listeners like, so Randy, you're a great writer, and we feel that we could give this to someone who could do a bit more gravitas.
What are you talking about? How do you got a friend in me?
No. He was saying, I don't know what you're talking about.
Let me tell you about strange
things are happening to me.
the strange thing happened to you.
Won't they take my demo?
When Disney loved me.
Okay, I'll say
it was a great scene. Still,
Yeah, it's very.
so.
powerful.
On the topic of the scene being great and emotional and singing, I think the scene that actually got to me the most. I remember saying in Toy Story 1, I thought the other two songs were really stupid, but You Got a Friend in Me had this kind of appeal to it that I really liked. And I was kind of worried that it was just Randy Newman, but I think the scene that got to me the most was after the two Buzzes left, and then Woody turns around to the TV, and it's not Randy Newman singing, it's Woody singing You Got a Friend in Me.
Yeah.
It's very calm, it's very heartfelt, and it's Woody singing it, so it's the connection between Andy and Woody. You know,
And you
it's
see,
not,
like, a little kid
It's not
that's,
Randy Newman singing it. It's Woody singing it.
Yeah,
and
you
it's
see
not, and it's not on a piano, and it's all cool. It's a guitar.
it's on like a banjo or something.
Yeah.
It's on a tiny little
banjo.
guitar, and he's playing it
Yeah.
as a puppet, and then a little kid
Yeah.
comes by and hugs it.
I love how
guitar.
like if you look closely, you see like someone push the kid on.
Yeah, I like that little detail.
Yeah, it's very campy and cheesy, but that's the way I like it.
You could tell they were big fans of like those sorts of shows like Howdy Doody
Yeah.
that were
Yeah.
they were just all about this sort of cheese.
Yeah, it was also nice just because I realized, oh, You Have a Friend in Me. I actually really like. It's not just nostalgia. I actually like it. This is used really effectively, but also it was used really effectively, and it was also campy and cheesy, and I loved it. It felt genuine. I love You Got a Friend in Me from Randy Newman, but it did not feel this genuine. This felt real, you know? I appreciated that a lot. The cover at the end of the movie I could have done without. That annoyed me. That felt like they were commercializing it, and I don't like that.
Oh yeah, the one with oh god, what's his face? The guy who's just I was almost gonna say Frank Sinatra, but it is decidedly not Frank Sinatra. It's the poor man's Frank Sinatra, essentially.
Another thing I noticed watching the movie, on the topic of when they were talking to each other, I noticed they were on eye level again, and you couldn't see Woody's feet. I noticed it this time. It wasn't a thing that I learned from the special features. They were on equal level. And then when it zoomed out to show Woody's feet, he was 10 times taller than Buzz. I actually noticed it this time.
They gotta have that you're at a toy moment at eye level.
Yeah, that's true. They borrow quite a lot of scenes. They have speaking of borrowing from Toy Story, they borrowed the original Buzz reveal shot in the first film. They use it for Buzz looking at utility belt Buzz.
A lot of nods to the first movie, I noticed.
Yeah.
A little weird to consider. I get why Toy Story 3 had nods to the first two movies because it had been over 10 years. But having so many nods to the first movie this short after the first movie happened.
Yeah.
Was a little off-putting. I mean, that one I liked. That one I thought was actually funny, but a lot of the other nods I thought were a little weird.
Again, they might have done it to recycle animation a bit.
A lot of stuff like that, it felt like capitulating off the huge success of the original film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe that was why there was so many critics that just like adored the film. I don't know. I still don't know. It's a very good film. I'm not sure, like, 100% Rotten Tomato score good.
Yeah.
Well, what did you really not like about it?
The Prospector.
Yeah, let's get into the Prospector.
He was really manipulative from the beginning.
Yeah, I noticed.
That's a detail that I'm a little more okay with that like. Now that you, like, upon rewatching it and knowing that he's going to be the twist villain, you can see a lot of how much, like, the Prospector grooms Woody, saying, like, it's a dangerous world out there for a toy.
The one that actually got me the most, I mean, I'll get into why I think the Prospector's still stupid, but the one that got me the most was when Woody was about to leave for the first time, and he said, why don't you at least say goodbye to Jessie? It won't hurt you. Knowing that she was going to tell him about... What's her name?
Jessie? Emily?
Emily, thank you.
Emily, yes.
Emily, yes, thank you.
Yeah, Prospector's more manipulative than you think. Like, I didn't see all that the first couple times I watched this. Even when I watched it with you guys a long time ago, I didn't really see it. Yeah. But, like, now, watching it again and, like, seeing how manipulative people can be, I'm like, damn, he's just playing chess.
Yeah, he's
playing the chess minigame of Toy Story Adventure. No.
But the problem is, on first viewing, there's no way to tell he's going to be the villain.
And then, like, after that first viewing, beyond the manipulation, he just mostly sucks. He doesn't have that many great jokes. He doesn't have much more of a personality beyond that.
He was even the worst part of the bloopers.
Oh yeah. God, yeah. They're like...
The bloopers in this... okay, I'll say this. Get this out of the way. The bloopers are better in A Bug's Life. There, yes. I said it.
Yeah. I won't say I didn't like the bloopers of the Buzz Life that much upon rewatching, but they were better than Toy Story. Like, and considering that like the Buzz Life bloopers had a pee joke, like the bloopers here went pretty low.
Although on that note, the best blooper was A Bug's Life 2.
Yeah,
A Bug's Life 2. That was definitely the best blooper.
Barely even a blooper. It was just an extension of A Bug's Life, where you see Flick's and Heimlich's demise.
Well, we know why we're not getting A Bug's Life
2. All because Heimlich didn't want to confess.
There's a little baby tiny thing I forgot to tell you.
What's that, Heimlich?
Well, it's a 2 movie, but it's not A Bug's Life 2.
Well, then I don't understand. What is it?
And you just hear them scream, ah!
But yeah, the Prospector had a fart joke, and he was like, he was coming on to Barbie girls.
Yeah, it was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure I can get you a part in Toy Story 3.
Ugh. And when they're walking away and he stares at their butts, like, oh God, you're old. Ugh.
There's a reason he isn't in the third film at all.
Also, I suppose it makes sense when you consider, like, because the whole thing with the Prospector is that he's a mint condition toy, which essentially means that he has never and will never be played with. And so his main goal in life is to go to the museum and just be cherished as a collector's item. And then his it's not a death scene. It's just a comeuppance of him getting strapped to a backpack.
She's an artist.
The one aspect of that I liked is that I like that it shows like a different ways that kids play with their toys.
Yes.
Like even the girls will be incredibly destructive of their toys. And I like that, but I didn't like the Prospective much. The first viewing, there's no real setup. It's going to be a twist villain. The second viewing, he's mostly boring because you know what the twist is, and he exists mainly for the twist.
We haven't brought up Bullseye once.
That's because he's a Disney dog.
Yeah. I should go without saying. I did not really. I did not really care about Bullseye.
Bullseye was more of a dog than the dog.
Yeah, Slinky's great.
Yeah.
I love Slinky.
Not just Slinky, but also
the dog. Buster.
Oh yeah,
Buster.
The dog. I love the dog.
Yeah, Buster was great, and you know what? Looked 10 times better than Scud.
Oh God, yes. Definitely yes.
I like also in the beginning, like you are a little nervous about Buster because of the pet toys of the first movie with Scud, and then they play with that a little bit, and then they play with expectations by just having Buster like Woody.
and it kind of and it just makes sense that like the toys would bond so much with Buster because they can't open up to the humans, but there's no harm in opening up to a dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and they teach the dog way more tricks than Andy ever has.
Yeah, I like when Woody tells Buster to do all these tricks and he does them, and then Andy tells him to do one thing. He scratches himself and just runs off.
I guess we'll work on that later.
Yeah.
The first 20 minutes of this movie were so good. I'll stand by to the parts with Buzz and everyone else also being really funny. I don't think we talked about them nearly enough. But the chunk of, I don't mean to say it like they don't have any heart, but the chunk of the heart of the movie is mostly where it fell flat for me. But since we haven't talked about them yet, any scene to bring up out of all of them with involving Buzz and Potato Head, Slinky, Rex in this movie was, oh my God, he was so funny.
Yeah, Rex was hilarious.
Rex in this
And he had an arc.
He had a real arc. At the end of the movie, when Ham's playing the game and he says, "Can you help me beat Zurg?" Rex says, "I don't need to beat Zurg. I lived it."
Yeah, and that's satisfying.
He had more of an arc than Buzz did.
Honestly, yeah.
And like we said earlier, the opening scene with the video game is mostly to set up Rex's arc.
His arc, which, mind you, is mostly kind of a joke.
Yeah. The whole thing is that he wants to beat a video game.
I like that they went that far for a joke. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Like even like as it goes along, like you can hear like in one of the scenes, Rex is saying, "Losing health units." He's still thinking about this like a video game.
When they're in Al's toy barn and he has the strategy guide, and the strategy guide slides under the shelf, he goes, "No, my source of power."
It's like there's like no stakes in it because it's just a strategy guide.
Just get it from the shelf.
The other characters are great too. I loved when they were going by the Barbie pool and the Barbie was driving, or the Barbie guide was about to start driving. Potato Head says,
I'm a marriage spud, I'm a marriage spud, I'm a marriage spud.
Make room for the single fellas.
Yeah. Oh yes, the Barbie scene, or as I like to call it, Mattel regrets not having Barbie in the first film.
Yes.
So they rank up the Barbie so high.
Really underappreciated joke, I thought, was when Woody said he was gonna go with them and everything. Slinky says, "I knew you'd come, Woody. My backside just had to catch up with my front side."
I noticed that joke. That was a nice joke.
There was a lot of jokes about that. Who's behind?
How Slinky's backside. This wasn't a thing in Toy Story 1, but Slinky's backside is now a separate entity from his front.
Yeah. Do we have everybody? Not quite. Who's behind? Mine.
Oh, I just got that. I can't believe it took me so long to realize that was a double entendre. He's saying who's behind and who's behind.
Yep.
That's really good. That's really good. I have this one note in here. It was this one line of dialogue from Al. I don't think we've talked quite enough about Al yet.
Oh,
yeah, can I just say... Wait, before you go, can I just say one thing? I think Al's the real villain of Toy Story 2.
I mean, he's just a dirty bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's an asshole.
It's not the same thing as Sid, but the logic is there. He's just a guy playing with his toys.
Yeah, you understand.
He steals, though.
Obviously, he was like horribly dickish about it. Like he stole.
He stole a family toy.
He stole a family toy.
He treats everyone like shit. He's ungrateful and lazy, complaining that he has to drive all the way to work.
On a Saturday.
He's like yelling
all the way to work.
He's yelling at so many people on the phone, and he's gotten so used to yelling at people that when the Japanese museum calls in, he's like, "Yeah, what? Oh, Mr. Kenichi." Like,
yeah.
He literally pushes Gary like after he fixes Woody for him.
Speaking of that scene, there was a line in that phone call with the museum that I heard it and I was like, what is that? And so I wrote it down. It's like when the museum owner says, "I'll pay you anything you want," and he's like, "Yes." Like as he's like coming out of the room and he's on the phone. One of the lines he says is, "Don't touch my mustache." What is that?
Oh yeah, he does say that.
What is that? What does that mean? Is that a reference?
Maybe it's a Japanese. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's a weird joke. Maybe it's just Wayne Knight being weird.
Yeah. I mean, Wayne Knight, like he's essentially playing as Wayne Knight in this.
Yeah, like an asshole version. Newman. He's playing Newman. Yes, yeah, he's an even more ass version of Newman.
yeah. Like and it's clearly like he had a lot of fun with the part, and like good on him. I'm glad to see Wayne Knight having some fun.
This was always something that I noticed watching the movie. I mean, I've only seen it twice, but I don't know about the first time, but the second time seeing I had this issue. When Andy breaks Woody's arm, or he tears it, his mom says, "Oh, it's okay, we can fix him on the way." Andy says, "No, let's just leave him." Why?
I actually, to be honest, I did not notice that the mom said we can fix it on the way. Andy did say, like, when he's like talking to the mom again after coming back from cowboy camp, he says, "It's a good thing I didn't bring him. His whole arm would have come off."
I think that's why he didn't do it.
Yeah, but said they could have him fixed.
I don't care if my toy was breaking and if I would had a risk of like losing like a huge piece of that toy. I would be like, "No, we're doing this at home," or "I'm doing this at home when I know it's safe."
I would be losing my mind. I'd be losing my mind if I was a kid at the thought of not being able to bring my favorite toy with me. Especially a toy that's as close to Andy as Woody is. Not, "Nah, let's just leave him."
I would, yes, I understand how you're feeling about that, but like, imagine like if they brought your favorite toy to cowboy camp and you lost the arm, you fixed the arm, but the arm fell off again because we were like just doing it in the car, or it got damaged like on the way in cowboy camp, and you like lost the arm at cowboy camp, and you would just be one-armed and there was nothing you could do. You couldn't find the piece. Imagine how Andy would feel then.
I mean, okay, but he's like 7.
I mean, I have the memory of like losing like a favorite toy of mine like on a bus, and it's to be honest,
it's a bad feeling. It's a bad feeling. It's a bad feeling, but you don't have that kind of at least, I mean, maybe nowadays, I don't know, but in the 90s and the 2000s, maybe even the early 2010s, I don't know, but you don't have that kind of foresight at that age. You want to play with your toys. You want to bring your favorite toy with you to the camp that you always bring your favorite toy with you to.
I don't see it. I agree with Rando on this. Like when you're
protective of your toys. None of my amiibo leave my house.
You're 24, 25. I don't want to hear it.
Even when I was little, I'd be like, "No, you're not going anywhere." Like, but even when I was a kid, I always felt weird about like bringing my stuffed animals. To be fair, I used to own a Mickey doll that I brought with me to see The Lion King on Broadway when I was little, and I was so stupid I dropped it from the mezzanine balcony.
Oh no!
And then I was so upset my grandma had to literally buy me another one.
Aww.
Oh no!
But yeah, I was like heartbroken, and that is worse than like your toy breaking and having to leave it behind. And not being able to play with it. Besides, you're at camp! You're not gonna be with your toy at camp!
I mean, you kind of are. It's just that, like, it's gonna be a very rough condition.
Yeah, it's cowboy camp. Go do activities. Don't play with toys.
He probably learned how to sew Woody through cowboy camp.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy that this 1 year of cowboy camp and only this 1 year of cowboy camp is teaching me how to sew. This cowboy camp that I've been to multiple times.
Sometimes you gotta be old enough to use a needle.
They only teach you how to sew when you turn 7.
Yes, exactly. Any younger, then they can't use the needle.
Valid point. Valid point. I remember when I turned 7, the first thing I did was I picked up a needle.
I picked up a needle and Sue in 7th grade. I still have...
Close enough.
I threw out the pillow. But I made a pillow.
Me too.
We all made a pillow because we went to the same middle school.
Yeah, we all took the same course.
Alright, we're going completely off tangent now. But, why is it the little stuff we argue about the most? Like, when it comes to plot, we all agree, like, with the major plot points in the movie. When it comes to, like, things like the video game and, like, whether...
Because it's a poorly designed video game!
We can talk a little bit about the... we can talk a little bit about the animation.
Yeah, the animation is...
Better.
It's still,
the humans
it's
still
still
look
not great, especially for the humans.
Like, the humans still look off.
Yeah, I have...
Otherwise, I think it looks pretty good.
I have one of my first notes here is, Andy looks a lot better from afar.
Yes.
There's that one, like, I don't know what that little train... It's like a train of luggage, but the guy who is driving it is nightmarish.
I know what you're talking about.
Especially the eyes. I don't know what was happening there.
Going back on the airplane scene, I noticed something, like, immediately when they went in, and I could just hear, the white zone is for loading passengers only. And I was just like, there's an airplane joke! Clever, Pixar!
I did not notice. That went right over my head.
Yeah, no, It took me... I finally, because it went over my head because I'd never seen Airplane.
I have seen Airplane a couple of times, and I had to, like, rewind the film to check, is that the exact voice clip from Airplane?
It might be. And then it's even funnier when Rex says, guys, we can't park here, it's a white zone. It makes it even... It was already funny enough, but now it's even funnier.
Are there any random notes that you weren't able to fit anywhere else, either of you?
A couple. I got a couple. First off...
Alright, well, make it quick, because we're almost out of time.
You have saved our lives. We are eternally grateful.
The aliens. I forgot to make notes about them.
Yeah. I don't know. They didn't bother me too much. I like the gag, little short gag with Mr. Potato Head and how that pays off still. Let's adopt them! Can I just say whoever voiced Mr. Potato Head is amazing?
Yeah, Miss Potato Head was really good. She was only in the movie for about 3 minutes, but she was great.
I got another one.
Mm-hmm.
When they're looking through channels and, like, Ham's just, like, fast clicking the channels. There's so many Pixar Easter eggs in there.
Yes.
There's Tin Toy, there's Knick Knack, there's
all the different commercials that they made for, like, Tropicana and such. Yeah, they shoved so much in there.
Just very entertaining. I think that's it for the notes for me. Here's something I didn't notice, like, right away. When Woody's arm was ripped, I never realized that he actually couldn't use it.
Yeah, I really liked the movement of Woody's body, the way it moved. I liked it a lot. And his arms and legs especially, I liked it a lot.
There was a lot more physicality with his movement. It feels like what a Woody doll would walk like.
That was the timer going off. You couldn't hear that, but
does that mean that means time for final thoughts?
That means it is in fact time for final thoughts.
Well,
who goes first?
Well, I suppose.
Okay.
All right. Watch.
I want to go last. Can I go last? Actually,
going last is my thing.
All right.
I mean, do you really want to go last?
I don't really care, but like.
That's how I can tell you really care.
Let's give it to him.
That's my thing.
I mean, I don't care. I really don't care.
Fine, I'll go last. But Wash goes first.
All right.
Well, my final thoughts on this is that it is very good. It is better than I remember it being, but not by much, unfortunately. I liked a lot of the Woody arc. I liked a lot of the Buzz and Gang arc. One was more for balancing out the other, and they didn't quite gel as well as they could have. It's ultimately very good. I don't need to say that this is better than A Bug's Life. It's definitely better than A Bug's Life. I don't feel that it's better than Toy Story. It's still got some issues with, like, plot and structure, and especially, like, the twist villain who just sucks. It especially sucks that because like the prospector is a third act with villain. So for that whole second act, there's no real build up for it aside from little clues that you may notice on your second time watching. It's fine. It's very good, but it's not gonna. I don't really see it like reaching the heights that Toy Story really has for me, especially as I get older. Those are my thoughts.
Cool.
You really want to go last?
No, I don't care. I really don't.
Oh, let's listen to how much he cares.
No, I don't. So, Toy Story 2, I had a lot of fun with this one. And yes, of course it has its problems. Yes, you could tell it's being rushed, but I think you're being a bit too hard on it. I really like it a lot. It may be the nostalgia glasses talking. It may be the fact that I watched this right after A Bug's Life, which made it 10 times better. But,
well, I mean, in fairness, it wasn't sat down, watched A Bug's Life, time for Toy Story 2.
But to be honest, I'm defending Toy Story 2 like I defended A Bug's Life. And yes, the Prospector is a third act villain, but to be fair, he is a third act twist villain, but he's one of the first twist villains, so they didn't really get it right until like maybe Water News. And at least they were on to something a little bit. It was at a time when twist villains weren't as saturated. Still boring, yes, but I think the fact that we notice that he's a little manipulative, it can make things a little bit better. I understand your complaints, but it didn't bother me that much. That's what I'm saying. And
Okay.
the story points didn't bother me that much. Again, Buzz and everyone was hilarious, and I liked the little drama that happened between Woody and Jesse. Yes, Bullseye's a vehicle. A dog vehicle, pretty much.
Literally, basically.
Yeah, he's a vehicle all throughout the series. He's literally just Woody needs to get around somewhere. Bullseye! But I don't know, I really like this film a lot. And I have ever since I was a kid. And yeah, I used to like it a lot better than the original. But Toy Story 2, in my opinion, comes decently close.
Okay.
I like the film better than you guys did. I'm giving it more of a break. Again, nostalgia glasses made me talking on this one.
Oh, sure.
But I really did like it.
That's valid.
Alright, well, I'm glad I'm going last then, because, was I too hard on it? Because I really liked it too.
you were
all joking about the game. Was I going that hard on it?
Well, I think we all were. You all were kind of, and I was like, I didn't know how to. That's why I was kind of quiet. I'm just like, I liked it.
I mean, I know I had my rant about the game at the start, but I mean, my big issue with it is the Woody stuff. I didn't really care about the Woody stuff. I cared about Woody and his arc, but what happened around him I didn't really care about. Otherwise, I really liked it. I thought it was really funny. I know I said earlier, like, the first 20 minutes was, the experience, and I still stand by that. First 20 minutes, incredible. Some of the funniest, best of Pixar that I've seen. Funny, and there was even a point in the first 20 minutes when Andy drove away with his mom to go to cowboy camp. And I thought to myself, if this is Toy Story 1, like, really sad music would be playing, maybe a Randy Newman song, and it would just be really in your face about it. But here, there was no music. It just stopped. And all that happened was that Woody went, Andy! And that was it.
There's like a tiny little, like, orchestral music.
Yeah, but it's mostly silent. I really appreciate, more atmospheric stuff like that. The Toy Story 1 didn't go for or try to and didn't really get it too well. I liked a lot of the little details. I didn't get to mention this before, but when Buzz and the others were trying to act stealthy so that nobody saw them, all of the different toys had a different idea to act stealthy. And I love little details like that Pixar is really good with. I really liked it. I'm sorry that's the vibe I gave off that I really didn't.
It was more wash.
But
I mean, you're fine with your opinion. Your opinions are valid.
No, but I will disagree with Kirby that, like, I at least thought that Jessie was a lot better than I remember her being. Like, she was a very...
Yes.
I thought she was a very solid character. I didn't really find her annoying. Especially, like, as you learn more about her arc. But even before the When She Loved Me song, like, you do get a really good sense of just how tragic of a character Jesse is, sort of happiness, it becomes almost like a defense mechanism to try to beat against the literal darkness.
Now I feel like I'm in Kingdom Hearts.
Oh no.
So on the whole, yeah, I really liked it. Thank you for that interruption. That was solid.
No, I just want to not say, because like you're saying that like I was being really rough on it. I still really liked it.
Again, it's probably my nostalgia goggles just talking and be like, yeah, how do you mean you don't like the film I don't like? But no, it's okay. It was a good movie.
On the whole, I think we all have the same rankings. Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2, Bug's Life. Unlike some people in here, I can understand why people think Toy Story 2 is better than Toy Story. I totally get it. But personally, I just prefer Toy Story 2. That's all.
Why do you think that?
Wait, you prefer Toy... Did you say you prefer Toy Story 2?
No, I prefer Toy Story 1. Definitely.
Okay.
I think Toy Story 2 has higher highs, but on the whole, I think I prefer Toy Story 1. And by I think, I know.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So that was Toy Story 2.
You know what's next?
That's right. That's right. It's finding monsters. Okay. Just wanted to make sure you were being serious on this.
All right, it's Nemo Inc.
What?
Finding Incorporated.
Marlon Wazowski.
Okay, so the next
Lightning
film...
Wazowski.
Oh, God. The next film...
How many cards you got in there?
How many cards you got?
Thank you for getting that one.
It took me a minute. It took me a minute. I was like, wait a minute.
Monsters Incorporated actually has a very personal place in my heart. So that's kind of what they're making fun of. They're making fun of me.
Oh, I was going off of...
No, I was just referencing it. I wasn't making fun of you.
Yeah, okay. And then I was just going off of what you were saying. So
Yeah. We'll talk more about Monsters Inc. once we get to Monsters Inc.
Which is hopefully after we finish at least one of these episodes, all edited.
Oh yeah, at the time of this recording, I have not finished editing the first episode, so I won't have to get around to that.
The Toy Story episode. If you want to hear Wash talk positive about Toy Story for once, go watch that episode.
Oh yeah. Definitely check out more of our podcast, Pixarspective.
At twitch.tv/RandomBystanderHere.
Why is it on my channel?
I don't know.
Okay.
We're gonna look back at this on your Twitch and have a good laugh.
Okay. All right. But yeah, this has been great.
Again, had a lot of fun talking. This was nice.
All right.
This time I had fun both watching the movie and talking this time.
Yes, me too. I really enjoyed watching this a lot more than A Bug's Life. I can't defend that movie anymore. I can't.
I think we're all on the same page with that one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still not like Good Dinosaur bad.
I can't wait. I cannot wait to get to Good Dinosaur.
That is gonna be.
I'm gonna watch that movie. I'm not even gonna be paying attention to the movie. I'm gonna have one note, and it's gonna be Random Bystander here.
Meanwhile, I will have a scroll of notes.
It's gonna take you 4 hours to watch an hour-long movie.
Yes. Yeah, I think like we have a standard of like trying to keep everything within like 75 minutes or so. But I think we may have to change that once we get to a Good Dinosaur.
Either that, or we're just gonna have to accept that me and you aren't gonna be talking much.
And Matt, what if you know, it'd be funny if I like start the episode and I just go, I like it.
Yeah.
All right.
No, it's gonna be how is Good Dinosaur, and then Kirby and I just mute our mics.
That's it.
You're just like, and I'm just like, I just go on a tangent for about 2 hours.
The tangent that is the entire episode.
Yes.
So and then you see if you can match my ramble about the video game in Toy Story 2. I dare you.
Oh, I will.
I like the confidence.
I'm already like fuming thinking about it. I'm just I'm gonna have to buy it, aren't I?
Yes, while Random groans about having to buy a Good Dinosaur, we'll have to sign off.
I'm Random Bystander here.
I am the Wash.
And it's ItsKirbyfan. I did it normally for once.
Yay.
Saying until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh, Woody's Roundup is cool.
Oh yeah, I like that song.
If you're sure you want to quit for now, click again. Quit?